The Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, has affirmed its strong commitment to upholding the integrity of the 2024 general elections. The authority plans to use its anti-corruption goal to prevent, manage and address fraudulent or unfair practices during the electoral process.
In a statement released on Monday, December 2, the OSP outlined its vigilant approach to ensuring a transparent electoral process, warning all election officials involved in vote counting, collation and the transmission of results that any attempt to forcefully or misrepresent the vote count will be treated as a serious offense. The OSP admonishes all officers charged with the counting of votes at polling stations, collation centers and the transmission and publication of the outcome of the elections that it is a grave offense to willfully falsify the account of the votes or make a false return of the votes. The office also reminded the public that the law strictly prohibits corrupt actions during elections, including vote buying, vote selling, intimidation, threats or acts of violence, and the impersonation of voters or electoral officers. The OSP further assured that it is fully committed to its mandate and will take immediate action against any individual or group found attempting to undermine the electoral process.
Joining us on phone is the co-chairman, Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Adam Senanu, who will join us to tell us more. Adam, thank you for your time. You're welcome to Newsbeat. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, firstly, we've seen the statement from the OSP committing to monitoring activities, as a voting activities across the country, and making sure that it stops anything or it brings to book anything that looks like corruption or unfair, treatment as far as this election is concerned. What do you make of the OSP speaking out?
I think it's a very useful thing when the public institutions mandated to be responsible for such things are out there and making citizens aware through sensitization that they are up to the task and willing to act if anything untoward happens. And so I think it's a very good initiative of the OSP to make sure that the public is duly sensitized and that persons who are so minded to taking actions that will interrupt or, in any way undermine the processes towards a peaceful election know that, look, they can be picked up and prosecuted. So I think it's a good effort.
Permit me to just read excerpts of the statement. And so the OSP admonishes all officers charged with the counting of votes at the polling stations and collation centers and transmission and publication of outcomes of the elections. That is a grave offense to willfully falsify the account of the votes or make false return of the voters and then the votes. And then also the OSP reminds the public that the law prohibits corrupt acts in relation to the elections, and it is serious offense to engage in vote buying, vote selling, intimidation, threats of violence, acts of violence, and or impersonation of voter or an electoral officer. So, with a detail provided in the OSP statement, is the OSP going to, order its own arrest, or will be depending on citizens' arrest or reports?
No, obviously, the OSP is not physically available in all the polling centers, areas, so they would be depending on reports from people. Usually in our election periods, we have an interagency security task force. It brings on board police, customs, fire, a number of the agencies are pulled together and deployed. I am quite sure they will also be depending on such men and women of the security agencies to also help with identifying, reporting, but definitely citizens as well. And so whatever reportage, including visuals, are provided will obviously help them draw their conclusions where they need to pick up persons and have them, prosecuted.